All right, the finals definitely have a good hand here. Opponent mulligans. All right, that's worth die younging. Guess I can shock too. I think I'd rather die young though. Better use of mana. Guess we'll swing first. Obviously, they're not going to block, but you never know. Well, probably should know. All right, so we'll die young it. My mana is going to be pretty occupied for the next few turns here, so I don't mind. It does leave them with some energy, I guess, but that's all right. Okay, monitor. So what do I want to do? I might just want to play I probably just want to play Infiltrator or my own monitor here. I guess we'll swing into that. But I don't want to play the Scourge because that's just like a snap block, I feel like, for my opponent. And Scourge is going to be a lot better next turn anyway. So I think we'll go monitor because I've got Enraged Giant I could potentially draw. All right, so another black-red aggro deck. Guess we should have guessed that from the monitor. All right, so they had the goods. They keep our stuff tapped, but then they're going to attack and we'll get in with our Scourge, so it's actually still just fine. Sky Skiff, not bad. Let's play the Scourge and bash for 4. Two cards left in our opponent's hand. Sourceful Return, getting back the rats and drawing a card. It's pretty good value. Okay, so we shock the monitor, swing with the automaton and the Scourge, and then follow up with an Infiltrator. Sounds good. Okay, so I guess we'll sack the automaton. I think the Scourge, actually. Although it's a little more difficult, isn't it? Because the Infiltrator's gas with the Skiff, but then my opponent can attack with the Rat. Well, that's not true. They attack with the Rat, I crack back for 4. Yeah, we'll sack the Scourge. I think it makes more sense. Because now they're pretty incentivized to attack with Rat. And then if we follow up with Skiff and Poisoner, we're looking really good. Because they have to take regardless of whether they attack with rat or not, they're taking 4. So now they just attack with rat because they sort of have to. We get to smash back for 4, like I said, which is a lot. And we still have a good play here. So attack for 4. Okay. It's actually the first time I've seen the Revolutionary played. So we can definitely afford to take this, right? Yeah. So we'll take 3. Broker's a good draw, 2. Let's see, if I play the broker, I swing with... No, we just want to do this. Attack with the poisoner. Get a servo. All right, that's a great trade for us. Play the broker and pass. Okay, so we get game 1. Playing against black-red aggro as well. I'm assuming they're playing Revolutionary, though, which means their pool can't be too good. Predicament's fine. I mean, it got value against us there. It's actually going to be pretty good against us. We have a fair amount of artifact creatures. And the fact that it's instant means they can get us pretty good with like a skiff or a garrison. Excuse me. But I'm not super impressed with the Revolutionary. Revolution's obviously good. Resourceful Return looks pretty good in their deck. Well, I guess not really. They played 1 artifact. So I think they must have more artifacts in there. Otherwise, Revolutionary and Return don't make much sense, but we just didn't see them. Against aggro, do I want to... if I saw some more X1s, I'd be willing to bring in a Prowler, but I didn't see any X1s, I don't think, right? So once I see more of their creatures and what they're running, I'll decide what should be sideboarded. But I could just slightly lower the curve by dropping a giant for like a spontaneous artist or something. It just slightly lowers the curve, but I think I'm going to keep the giant for now. We didn't see their hard removal either, I don't think, right? Because Revolution doesn't deal with giant. On the draw, no red mana, but we have Die Young. This is interesting. I think I'm going to keep this on the draw. Most of our 2-drops are black spells, too. On the play, I'd probably mulligan that. That seems like a keep on the draw, though, for sure. All right, that's worthy of Die Younging in my mind. Especially since we're going to have our mana occupied for a little while, so we only need to pump 1 on it, which is nice, too. So there's that artifact creature and an X1 on top of that. All right, Alley Strangler. So we've got the Rebel or a Broker, but we'll play the Rebel. I think that just makes more sense. Okay. Attacking for 2. So, interesting options at my disposal here. If I attack with the Rebel, they're snap blocking with Broker. I guess that means I just trade a Precise Strike for a Broker. Yeah. Because they probably will then keep the Strangler back to block the Rebel next turn. I'm also going to follow up with a Broker. So this turn's fine. We're going to attack with Rebel. They're going to block. We're going to trade a Precise Strike for a Broker and play our own. And then we'll Cruel Finality their Strangler next turn because I think they're going to keep it back to block. Definitely would prefer if they kind of tapped out though, or... Alright, Revolution on that one is also fine. It's interesting that they chose that one and that they're attacking, but since that one would have had to attack into their Strangler, in my mind it would have made much more sense to not do it that way. So they are ahead on the race, but that's alright. If they play something, I'm hoping it's something I can kill with Cruel Finality. They don't play anything. Well, that's interesting. So I guess we'll play the Scourge here because hasty. No plays? It's surprising. It's pretty surprising. Revolution again. All right. We're ahead on the race now, though. They're still swinging for the fences. They do not care. So, play a Brawler. I think I'm actually going to sandbag this land because if my opponent's got maybe like an Implement... Demolition Stomper. Okay. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So I can swing with both of my guys. And follow up with an Infiltrator. Yeah, this is fine. So we do some finality here. Keep that on top. Kill their guy. Play an Infiltrator. So I guess if they have Wrangle plus a creature, we die. Back the Broker. They can play it. They still can't crew this, though. Alright. I mean, we still get to attack with everything, and we have Hungry Flames, so they're Toasterino. Alright. So we ended up going 2-1. I think we could, like I said, I think we could have won that second match. It came down to I forgot about the Druid of the Cowl for the tidy conclusion. I'm trying to think what would have happened. No, I would have won because I would have drawn the shock. So basically, I needed to not go for lethal, which is always the craziest thing to do, not go for lethal. But it was only because I couldn't see what they could do with the 4 mana. So the Druid just came up huge as like, I do that often too. I forget about the Ramper as the extra mana source. So I knew about the Tidy Conclusion from game 1. It happened to be, it was their last card in their hand. So like I said, it was 1 in 28 chance or whatever, because they had 28 cards or so left in their deck when they played it. Maybe 27 or 26, still like, an absurd amount. Unless, I guess, they could have had multiple Tidy Conclusions. But regardless, they would have actually gained life from... They did gain life from Tidy Conclusions, but they would have killed my guy. They would have taken 3 extra damage, so they would have been in shock range. So I could have won that match, too. But I would have had to not go for lethal, play the Precise Strike on the guy that was getting blocked by the Hydra, make them go for the 2-for-1 play. They take 6, they go to 2. So it could have worked out, but that's not the way I played it. So ended up losing round 2. This deck played great. Black-red aggro is obviously still a thing. This deck had very little synergy, right? The only synergy-based cards we had were the Brawler and the Giant and the Operative. And, we had more than enough artifacts to do for them. But this deck was just your standard issue, cheap beats deck. And it played very effectively for us. So hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back for more. Thanks so much, folks.